R.M. Palaniappan is a well-known and an acclaimed national and an international printmaker, a formidable artist in the vanguard of printmaking. He stands tall among the constellation of artists within India as he continues to experiment, develop his new methods and techniques in graphic media. An alumnus of the Government College of Arts and Crafts, Madras, he hails from an affluent family in Devakote. His grandfather was a talented and a versatile personality who had interest in many art forms, as in his house there were many artisans and craftsmen who produced jewelry, sculpture, did bronze casting of utensil as well as icons for a temple that he was building in Vietnam, where he also had vested interest. He also had a particular talent for valuing diamonds and was an excellent cook. In the family of Palaniappan were also astrologers, as his great grandfather and his brothers were astrologers. Palaniappan was always encouraged by his grandfather to be always mentally occupied. He always had an interest in science from a very young age, and as a matter of fact, his artistic predilection was already contoured at this young age by his family environment. His interest was in astrophysics and astronomy, and that was the kind of reading that he used to do at a young age. And one of his favorite pastime was to gaze at the stars, sitting in a chair which his grandfather would vacate, pondering at the vast infinity of the universe and the alternate patterns of existence which were there and which held an within its heart. Since he had interest in science, he was also interested in mathematics and geometry, and particularly he was talented in solving geometry riders, so much so that he was given the name of rider Palaniappan. Since his entire education was there in Devakote, during his pre-university, he entered a painting competition, and he won the first prize here. This painting competition opened up completely a different trajectory for Palaniappan, and it set him thinking that among the arts, that it is architecture which is the mother of all arts because it had to do more with time and space, and he decided that he would become an architect. Encouraged by his grandfather, who always told him to be mentally active, he came away to Madras to join the College of Architecture but failed to gain admission there. So he finally joined the Government College of Arts and Crafts, where he graduated in painting and a post-graduation in industrial design, namely ceramics. His pedagogy at the institution, where he was exposed to art history through books, he developed a keen interest in certain great masters of the past. It was his dedication, his enthusiasm, and his interest which led him to discover these masters, and he was particularly inspired by Rembrandt, Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Monet, and Pizarro. Though their influence is not directly seen in the works of Palaniappan, but it was their approach in engaging with certain elements. So when it comes to Rembrandt, he was fascinated by the use of light, which created a timeless space through his modulation of space, which was almost spiritual in character. Leonardo and Michelangelo were both uh, polymaths in many respects, and they had a scientific temper. And he realized that it is their scientific temper which helped them considerably in solving many of the artistic problems. Monet and Pizarro, who studied light in a scientific way and then found correspondence of application through pigments, they were able to capture the evanescent and capricious light in their painting. So these artists made a deep impact on his personality, and it was to affect his works much later. with a predilection and a mindset that was both scientific and artistic. It is little wonder that Palaniappan was able to decode his interest in astronomy and meld it with his artistic persona. He always said that art is not simply an aesthetic awareness, but also visual thought and form, visual thought and analysis. And it is on the semantic or the meaning of thought that he plays. And this has a wide connotation in the diverse epistemes of knowledge as astrophysics, mathematics, geometry, and the infinite universe. Now, this interest was indexical of his abstraction because he conveyed his thoughts, ideas through abstract elements, through abstraction, and created a very cerebral aura around his works. It's not easy to comprehend Palaniappan's visual works so easily. It requires insightful perception in order to decode and to absorb them. For Palaniappan, his main interest was time, space, environment, and movement. And these four elements finds realization through his line, which he was able to handle it and manipulate it so intelligently, philosophically, emotionally, spiritually, that it became the chief protagonist in his art. And he started his interest in graphic medium as a result also was because his father had established an offset printing studio in Madurai, which did not do commercially very well. So his brother took it up and he started doing silk screen on metal surfaces as well as lithography and other mediums. Palaniappan came here after his graduation and helped his brother in preparing the screens, the lithographs, as well as in photography. His two other brothers also were specialized. One was a software engineer and the other one had obtained a diploma in printing technology. With a background like this and with a printing studio already in place, it was obvious that Palaniappan somehow would take to the graphic media, but of course he also had varied opportunities to learn graphic print, being inspired by the graphic prints of Bhaskaran, by the line of K.M. Adimulam. These were the various modernist masters who were very much his seniors in the institution where he graduated from.